Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to Geeks Who Like Sports, Season 2, Episode 8. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. To my best friend in entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today, buddy?
9-1, Ray. 9-1. My football team is 9-1, and it's a wonderful feeling. But it's also a scary feeling because they have not put a full game together yet. And I just know that come playoff time, if they hit a team in stride, the 9-1 will mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. No, listen, always a good day to record after your team wins Monday Night Football in a Super Bowl rematch. And again, I want to talk just really quickly, because we're going to start on football, as we always do, about how wonderful of a game that was last night. Just echoing what we said in the previous episode about the prime time games need to be great. That was a great game. It was worthy of a Super Bowl rematch.
Yep.
Joe Buck went out of his way to continue to say that the Eagles have the best rush defense in the league until now. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then Troy Aikman started complimenting the Eagles and the Eagles fans, which was kind of weird.
That is weird.
At the same time, very comforting. I think he's transcended his cowboyism, which he'll never not be, to a man of the people. And I can appreciate that as a Birds fan. But joking aside, I'm not gloating about 9-1, Ray. But it really is a wonderful place to be in as a football fan, kind of being on top of the standings. But long way to go. I'm going to say it again. The Eagles have not put together a full game yet all season, but they find a way to win. They really do find a way to win.
You found a way to win, and might as well just get into football. But also the Chiefs found a way to lose.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all.
There was definitely, I mean, obviously, if Valdez-Scantling makes that catch there, it's a whole different ending to that game.
Well, they win the game. They win the game. But look, the bigger thing is that they scored no points in the second half. That's why they lost the game. And I give Patrick Mahomes a lot of credit for in his press conference. He didn't put it on anybody.
No,
nope. If anybody, he put it on himself.
Yeah.
And he just said that, look, we need to get better at that position and that situation. And it's never one play. And the level of accountability he displayed is why they're a Super Bowl team every single year. I just thought, from a fan standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, that was a terrific display of the NFL last night.
Yeah.
All right. We should also mention it's Tuesday, November 21st when we're recording this. And I just really appreciated that. It's quality television, quality sport, quality people.
Yes.
That's what we want. And then I love at the end, they're like, come on, tune in next week when the Bears try and get another win. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. And then suddenly it's back to garbage.
Yeah. I was like, what? I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's very hit or miss with the NFL in prime time, and definitely. But this was a good one. You mentioned the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the second lowest amount of points scored in the second half this year.
Yeah,
it was shocking. They're averaging only 6 points a game in the second half. They've also not been able to win a game where they've given up more than 20 points.
Right.
This is very un-Chiefs-like. But again, we mentioned the drop by Valdez-Scantling. It wasn't the only drop of the night. There's been a lot of issues with that receiving core in Kansas City.
Dropped a bunch last night too, and
he had a fumble and everything.
Yeah.
And it definitely. By the way, did you hear the rumors that both Kelsey brothers may retire this offseason?
It would be the right time to do it with the success of their podcast and their things. I think a lot of it's going to come down to where they finish at the end of the season.
Yes.
Obviously Jason's a little older than Travis, but they're not young. They're both in their mid to late 30s. And again, it comes down to their bodies and what they want to accomplish. I mean, they've probably made enough money now that they can live for a very long time. And it should Travis end up with Taylor Swift. I mean, he's set for life.
Yeah, he really doesn't need to keep putting his body at risk.
He doesn't have to do anything. He just needs, he just has to put himself at risk with that situation.
Yeah.
But I will say this, that look, Coach Lee talking here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is with all teams. I'm not talking Eagles. I'm not talking Chiefs. Great teams will find a way to win. Right. The difference between the Eagles and the Chiefs actually right now, and I'm not picking on the Giants, Ray, or the Commanders or anything like that, but those teams cannot find a way to win even when it's right in front of them.
Yeah.
Right. The great teams find a way through. The Eagles have done that probably 7 times this season. Right. And a lot of people, they're lucky. Luck plays into it. I'm not going to deny that.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. But it's not like they know how to find a way to win. They know when to make the right plays. That is a skill. That is a championship level skill. And again, I've said before, like when coaching, I don't believe in luck. No, luck, fortunate plays, drops, they play into it. Right. Sure. But it's about the positioning of yourself in those moments. Mm-hmm. Right. That the Eagles were winning the game when he dropped that. They were not winning the game at halftime. So there's a lot of ways of looking at that. And like I said, when you look at the lesser teams, the bottom half of the NFL, they cannot find a way to do that. What they do, they put together a great game once or twice, and everybody loses their minds, but they can't do it consistently. So I think that's part of it. And I do want to say congratulations to the Giants on beating the Commanders. Two teams that have absolutely thrown in the towel. The Commanders are just better.
We can't even tank right.
I know.
Like,
I was watching that score. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? The Commanders figured it out. They're tanking horribly on purpose.
I mean,
just dumb.
I get. Look, Tommy DeVito, third string quarterback. He's doing everything he can.
Well, he wants a job. He wants.
Yeah,
a job.
exactly. And everybody's having fun with the chicken parm and all of this and all of that.
Right,
and I get it. The Giants need a good draft pick because they need a quarterback.
It's just unbelievable mistake that they're making right now in terms of look, I'm not for tanking, but I am for not going for it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean? You gotta put something competitive out there.
Yeah.
All right. But what I like what the Commanders are doing, we're gonna put a lot of young guys out there that are gonna lose every game, but they're gonna get valuable experience so we can bring another group of people in. That's the right way to quote unquote tank.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, that's what the Giants did too. It just it happened to be there had to be a winner on Sunday.
Just had the night of his life.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito
was
getting
a win in the NFL. That's what he said.
Tommy DeVito was the player of the day on Red Zone.
I know.
He threw for 75%, threw for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Listen, honestly, think about it. From his point of view, he might have just got himself an endorsement that's going to let him live for 10 years straight. So
yes,
God bless him, especially when they named Tommy DeVito. Hey,
yeah, no, and him, and actually, it was actually a very nice scene today down at the Meadowlands. Him and his agent, who also looks like as you know, the most stereotypical Jersey Shore guy ever. Him and his agent, I don't know his name. They were giving out food to food insecure people, as they're saying there, for Thanksgiving. Which also, by the way, if you are listening to this on the day that it premieres, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We hope that you're listening to us
from the Geeks Who Like Sports.
This is a perfect show if you're driving somewhere to go to the family or whatever and hang out. This is the perfect show to listen to.
I got an idea. An idea. Let's do a quick promo that we can cut into a mini clip right now.
Okay.
Live on the episode. Ready? Okay. I'll start it. We'll ad lib. We'll find a way to get out of this together. You ready?
Yes.
Ready? The holidays can be a tough time of year when you're a geek who likes sports. You might want to think about where's Marvel heading. You might think about where's DC heading. You might want to think about where Spider-Man's heading, but you can't talk about it because your family wants to talk politics.
That's what we're here for. We're here to relieve you of your family, of your toxic family. You know, you guys don't want to talk about politics. No. You don't want to talk about all the troubles of the world. You get that every other day of the year. No, you're heading to your family. You listen to the Geeks Who Like Sports. You listen to us. You talk football. You talk baseball. You talk about Marvel. You talk about DC. You talk about video games. What are you going to buy on Black Friday? The Game Awards. That's what we're here for. So we're thankful that you're listening to us, and and you should be thankful that you have us to listen to.
And just remember, when your family gets greedy, the geeks are here for you. We're ready to be with you.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, that was pretty good. I think
that wasn't bad. Off the cuff. Yeah.
I'm doing the pen thing on the paper like Dave Letterman used to do, that's usually my sign for being good. Anyway, we should keep moving along. This has been a great episode so far.
Yes. Football. It was an interesting week in football. The Lions had a huge comeback. It was a really interesting.
The real deal. They are the real deal.
The Lions are the real deal. And again, that's an even bigger reason why that Philly won, because with the Lions coming back again, if you guys become a 2-loss team, I don't know what the tiebreaker currently is, but that's obviously. Could you imagine if the Lions got the bye?
Well, hey, look, we saw that happen in the AFC last night with the Chiefs losing. Baltimore suddenly is
now Baltimore's the 1 seed. Yeah.
Yeah, no one's safe at the top, but like it's good that you have competitive teams. I think a lot of teams in the NFC were thinking they might get a leg up on the Eagles last night, but it just wasn't to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. And of course, the other New York team, we talked a little bit about the Giants. The New York Jets also have a little QB controversy. They're now starting their third string quarterback going the rest of the way because Zach Wilson is horrendous.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than blue. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. New York. It's another.
Two of the worst teams in the NFL play in New York, ladies and gentlemen.
New Jersey, to be fair.
To be fair, that is true. The Buffalo Bills keep their playoff hopes alive with a big win, get themselves at 6-5, because the AFC has a log jam in the wild card race.
Yeah, my gut is th're gonna pull
through. 6-4. Sorry.
Yeah, my gut says they pull through. They're finding themselves.
Yes, I think so too. It's going to be interesting though, because there's a lot. The Denver found a way to win.
Yeah.
You got a lot of teams that Cleveland's 7-3, riding the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
You've got and who knows? Baltimore's the 1 seed right now, but they lost Mark Andrews for the year.
It's going to move
against
around.
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
it's going to
move around a lot.
Yes,
Chiefs will be back up there probably after next week.
And Cincinnati is likely done, even though they're only 5-5 because Joe Burrow is out for the rest of the year now too.
Yep.
Get that kid an offensive line. Holy cow! Anyway. So that's the football season up to this point. You know what? Though we can't make this stuff up. We always joke about the script, but you can't make it up. But you know who were admitted to making up a lot of stuff this week, Lee?
Yeah, this is one of the most awkward, dumb things I've ever seen. And I'm actually looking forward to talking about this.
Charissa Thompson, of course, a sideline reporter for a lot of times, and now I think she hosts an in-studio show with Fox, the pre-game show, I believe. Yeah, for now. Admitted in an interview this week that most of her sideline reports, not most, but a fair amount of her sideline reports, if she couldn't get access to the coach or a player, she just made it up.
Oh my God. Ray, let's think about the state of journalism when a journalist openly, without any fear, admits this. You and I were taught in broadcasting. Ray and I are both graduates of Montclair State University's prestigious broadcasting department. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that. We are both very humbled and very thankful that we went to this school and this program. A lot of really famous people have come out of this program. Okay?
Yeah.
We were taught the golden rule of broadcasting is A, to operate in the needs and necessity of the public, and to always tell the truth.
Yeah.
Someone just off the cuff says, I don't always tell the truth, and I do it for no really good reason. Okay. First off, just there's that thing to discuss of what an idiot. Like, why would you even admit that?
Yeah. What good comes from that? I mean, this is why nobody trusts the media. Like, you're just like, and I get it's only football. I get it. You're not covering wars.
They do the same thing in war, and they do the same thing at every news network across the world. So,
and that's
the BBC.
the thing.
The BBC does a great job. God bless you,
yes,
mate.
That is true. Thank goodness for thank you for the BBC. But like, I mean, to admit openly that you do this or that you did this. I mean, first off, you've also just basically admitted to what we all have been saying for years, is that sideline reporters are basically worthless. You're air filler. You're just trying to fill time between the TV timeout and the players retaking the field. You have no purpose in being there. And I don't know about you, but like me, we some friends got together and watched football, and every time a sideline reporter came on screen, I redid the Princess Bride screen. Was a scene where with Miracle Max, and because that's what they all are now in my mind.
I just
can't trust a single thing they say. Who cares?
Why would you make something up? What all that tells me. Look, Ray.
Also, that you're bad at your job.
You and I have done play-by-play and color commentary together. Yeah. Right. My job when I was color commentary with you is to speak experience into the lexicon from my own experience. So now you're telling me you have no good experience or nothing good to say. You're making stuff up. You admitted that. By the way, don't really like that she admitted that. And everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, there's nothing coming from this.
Yeah, so
because her defense was like, well, I'm just saying stuff the coaches probably would have said anyway. No coach is going to call me out on it.
You don't know
Give
what
me a
coaches
break.
are thinking. You don't know what coaches are thinking or saying. Share some expertise. Have a discussion. I watched this last night. I give credit to Scott Van Pelt interviewing Troy Aikman and Joe Buck after the game. Yep. And he asked Joe Buck good questions. And Joe Buck actually had good answers to those questions after the game. And I'm thinking, these two are not like professional coaches. They're having a good discussion with Troy Aikman next to him. So it can be done. It can be done. All right. I just think that any broadcaster that can admit that they're making something up, it's wrong. You shouldn't do it. All right. And I just have a problem with this on a generic standpoint. Do a better job. All of you.
Yeah. It's really that simple. If you couldn't get a report, you couldn't get a report. Like you said, Lee, be part of the broadcast. Talk about the game. Give some analysis. But yeah, like, I mean, Caitlin is mentioning, or her producer Caitlin is mentioning that people are definitely mad about this. But I'm saying, like, the people who she employs her aren't mad enough to do anything about this. There are, obviously, we're not the only ones calling her out for this. Like, obviously, this blew up into a big thing because it is a big deal. But and other female broadcasters are also specifically calling her out because it is a bad look. Yeah. It's already harder for women to get into sports broadcasting, and now she basically just took their credibility and just threw it under the bus.
Well, and here's the thing: there are highly qualified women that I would love to hear from in these situations that could talk about this all day.
Absolutely.
So I just think this is despicable.
Charissa Thompson should be fired. It's that simple. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's
a lot of female broadcasters have broken through a lot of glass ceilings to get us here. For you to tell us that you're lying on the sideline, that can't happen. That's wrong. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm just saying it cannot happen. You know, Ray and I'm going to say this again. I'll be listening. We really believe in broadcasting. It's one of the reasons we have our own independent show, right? And I just have such an issue with people that will mess with the pureness of what should be broadcasting. And it's everyone. Yeah. I'm so tired of it. Here's another one. How about this, Ray? Well, I didn't get a chance to interview him because he's very busy with his team right now, but I do have a question for you, color analyst who's on the sideline that I'm talking to right now. What would you have said to the team in this situation?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not hard to do. Anyway, moving on.
Unbelievable.
Thompson, shame on you.
Should be fired.
Yeah.
Fired.
Anyone who does this should be fired.
Yep. So moving on now, a little bit of college football this week. We talked a couple of weeks ago about, obviously, Caleb Williams and the crying incident, and we obviously talked about Lee mentioned specifically how he responds is going to be a big deal going forward about this. And, well, USC has not really responded that well. Caleb has played okay, but definitely not up to his potential. USC has now lost 5 of 6, including, I think, 4 in a row since the crying incident. They lost now to one of the UCLA has not been a good team this year. They're talking about firing Chip Kelly, who's the coach over there now. You know something about firing Chip Kelly, but
the destroyer of football teams.
Yes, exactly. So, but they lost by almost 3 touchdowns to UCLA, and obviously in that rivalry game, and USC is continuing to struggle. They're falling down the standings. Lee, is this on Caleb Williams? Is this on USC as a program? What are your thoughts on USC's utter implosion?
No, it's on the team as a whole. There's no distractions. I'm not going to allow an incident to say, that's why our season tanked. All right. Maybe it was a distraction. They let it become a distraction. I want to say it again. I didn't think there's anything wrong with that incident. I think the media blew it well out of proportion. I think that probably happens more than people think it does. Right. Just might not happen on the field, to be fair. Right. No, the whole team is responsible for this. Right. Yes. The season is the summation of all the games and all those moments. And if you don't have the wherewithal to be mature enough to move past that, it's on you. So no, it's just, the truth is they're just not that great of a football team compared to the rest of the division.
Yeah, clearly compared to I agree. Compared to the Pac-12, it's not USC's year. It's just that simple, right?
Yeah, moving on.
But staying with you college football a little bit. One other thing, big matchup next week: Ohio State versus Michigan, the 2 seed versus the 3 seed. Both of these teams are undefeated coming into this game. There are 5 undefeated teams left. And Lee, I don't know about you, but I am so sick of hearing about the panel and the board and the board of the trustees who will decide who plays in the playoffs and all this. Lee, I have a real simple solution for everybody. Somebody's going to lose next week between Ohio State and Michigan. There's no ties in college football, right? They'll just keep playing overtime until somebody wins. Somebody will lose. If Washington State should win their final game of the year and also finish undefeated, and also same with Florida State and Georgia, the other undefeated teams. But again, say Michigan loses, just a hypothetical. Well, then you'll have 4 undefeated teams because then Ohio State will be also defeated. The undefeated teams should be the 4 teams in the playoffs, Lee. You shouldn't have to go to resumes or a board or anything. Well, what about Michigan? They lost the last game. That's it. They lose the last game of the year. You're not in the playoffs. Bye-bye. I know I'm a little crazy. I know I'm a little crazy anyway, but to me, this is the same thing that happened to was at UCF a few years ago, where they were at the 8th seed, but they were undefeated and then destroyed their opponent in the bowl game they were in. Lee, if you are undefeated, And there's only 4 undefeated teams, right? If there's more than 4 undefeated teams, then I can understand looking at resumes and things like that. But if there's only 4 undefeated teams left, they're not be the playoff teams.
Who the hell do you think you are, bringing logic to the NCAA? What is wrong with you, Ray? Are you really trying to bring logic to the NCAA football standings? Ray, you're 100% right. Look, here's the deal. The NCAA is, in football specifically, over the last 15 years has made some really good decisions in terms of playoffs. Yes. That expansion was very well done.
And they're going to expand again soon, thankfully.
Yeah, they're going the right direction, right?
Sure.
But this is one of those things. It's like, okay, obviously financially driven. I never liked when people vote on who's in big games. I don't get that. I think this is where records and standings play into it. I do believe that strength of schedule is important, but I think it's more important for a tiebreaker than it is for a deciding factor. Not to mention, like you said, a smart business person, Ray, would go let the NCAA go into this game this weekend is whoever wins is in. Whoever wins is in. Whoever loses is out. You want some real ratings?
Yeah.
That'll get you better ratings than a bowl game, because guess what? It becomes a bowl game.
Yeah. It's do or die.
I'll remind our younger listeners that just 10 years ago, the national championship was just 1 and 2, and it was horrible every year because it was always a team that should have been there that wasn't. Yeah. But no, I agree with you, Ray. You go undefeated again, unless, like I said, unless your schedule is so ridiculous. Which that's on them to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? You talk about like the SEC always takes a break at this time of year. You had Alabama versus Chattanooga
undefeated in the Mountain West. It's like, all right,
sure. But I mean, Washington, who again they're right now the 5 seed, and they're the ones who could most benefit from this.
They should have their opportunity.
Beaten 5 ranked teams this year. That's more than Ohio State and Michigan combined.
Their opportunity to be there, right? And should they lose as well?
Yes. Then you start talking about resumes. Then you start talking about strength of schedule.
I do think strength of schedule has a thing into it. And I think that, like, and I've seen this in other, and especially in youth sports, there is a mathematical way to actually calculate that in a way that's not in anyone's hands.
Yeah.
All right. And I just wish that would happen. Again, I hated when it was before, when it was like, okay, 1 and 2, because 3 always deserved it almost all the time. A chance. Right. So I do love the playoffs. But a team goes undefeated, you deserve the right to challenge that. Now, some people might disagree with us out there, but I think at the end of the day, there's so much money that goes into this array that between Washington and Michigan or Ohio.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Ohio State and Michigan have these prestigious programs, and Washington's a very good program too. It's just been a much longer time since Washington has been at the level of a Michigan or Ohio State. But this is proving that they are probably back there, right? You've got a strong Heisman candidate, Heisman finalist candidate, and Michael Penix Jr. I don't think he's going to win it, but he's right there in the conversation with Bo Nix and Caleb Williams and all of them.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, but like if whoever wins between Ohio State, and again, this also goes back to the fact that don't forget that Michigan got a slap on the wrist for cheating and all this other garbage. Right? You want to talk about prestige and stuff. Yeah. Like,
well, they shouldn't even be in a position to be in the playoffs.
That's we said it a couple of weeks ago. Is Michigan should probably be disqualified from the playoff. Not to say they should be disqualified maybe from a bowl game or something like that, but at least from the playoff for a national championship. I'm sorry, if whoever loses this game between Ohio State and Michigan, you're out. You'll still get a nice bowl game because you'll still be a top 10 team for sure.
Against a good team too.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sorry. Washington should move up to the 4 seed. Florida should move up to the 3. Whoever wins this should be the 1 or the 2, and then Georgia's the other 1 or 2. Like, and also, again, this is also assuming that Georgia should win their last game, and so should Florida. Just their Florida State's quarterback got hurt last week, so you don't know about them winning their last game. But there's still a lot that could happen. But should every undefeated team win, and then you have Ohio State versus Michigan, whoever loses is out, and it's that simple. Sorry.
Yeah, or just expand the playoffs already.
Well, yeah, which that will have. I don't know if it's next year or the year after, but that is coming finally. Where I think they're going to do I think it's a
solves the problem.
12 team. Yeah, solves the problem real quick. Yeah, you know what was easy for people to decide this year, Lee? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, sorry, I hit the mute button. Yeah, I do. NHL Hall of Fame inductees.
Yes, yes, the NHL Hall of Fame class led by one Henrik Lundqvist, first time on the ballot, and it immediately inducted into the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so, along with Mike Vernon and Ken Hitchcock and Tom Barrasso, Pierre Lacroix, Caroline Ouellette, and Pierre Turgeon. Thank you. That's a typo. There's a typo on my article. That's not my fault. But
it's
the
a
one
great
I
class.
care most about, obviously, is Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, everybody in there deserves to be there. Some big names on that list. A lot of 90s, early 2000s, turn of the century type people on there. But yeah, look, Hank is deserved this. It's really unfortunate he never won a Stanley Cup, but he did have his chance. I'll say that. But no, love seeing good people get into the Hall of Fame. And I think, you know what my note is on this, Ray, because I don't want to be generic about it. I think all the other Hall of Fame should take note of how the NHL Hall of Fame does their thing. I think the NHL Hall of Fame is the best Hall of Fame, with Canton coming in very, very close second. Major League Baseball has so much controversy over their Hall of Fame. And basketball, I just don't even think about too often because it's such a changed game. And I think that the criteria for getting into that is a little different, but the NHL and the NFL do this right. And they did it right this year.
Yeah. Although I did have a problem with the uniforms they had, which would look, I thought they looked like Washington Commanders. Yeah, they were like, there was a weird color scheme. But other than that, no, great job again by the NHL. It's a terrific class, and congrats to everybody getting there. You know, Lee, you mentioned basketball.
Yeah,
and
I did.
You know, we've talked a lot so far here about the in-season tournament, and so far so good in a lot of ways. I'm still not a fan of the neon courts, but it is what it is. But something else that's been happening a lot lately is that there have been several fights breaking out in these tournaments, which I guess is a good thing in some ways because it obviously shows the players care. Obviously, some of these guys, especially the guys on the bench, want that bonus money and whatnot. But I mean, the big one, this week was Golden State versus, I believe it was Minnesota. It was versus Minnesota. And Draymond Green basically thought he was in the WWE and put the $1 million dream on Rudy Gobert. Came in from behind, put a sleeper hold on him.
And the way only the way basketball players could fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, he came in from behind. Rudy never saw him coming and everything. I mean, it was not look. It's not going to win an award for boxing or anything like that, it wasn't exactly the best punches thrown. But that's not why you're watching the game, Lee. What do you think is the cause of this uptick in physicality in the NBA? Especially particularly during the in-season tournament games?
Well, one, I love it. Number one. Two, I think it's proof that these are becoming more competitive games and the players want to win. You put a competitive environment in front of professional athletes, they're going to compete. So you're seeing playoff mentality now. I think it's good for the sport. I don't think necessarily fighting is the way to do it. I think you got to figure it out on the court, but I told you, Ray, I'm a big fan of this in-season tournament. When you watch a game, you can feel it. Right. You can clearly see it. All right. But you can definitely feel that there's a little more onus on these games and you want to win. Every little point matters. I'm going to say it again. I say this on a lot of episodes, a lot of shows. These athletes are more competitive than anyone understands. As competitive as you think you are sitting at home, these people are professional competitors. They do it for their living. They are extremely competitive. So when you put money in front of them, and you put an in-season championship in front of them, you're going to get playoff-style basketball now. It's a brilliant move. I actually think we're going to see other sports leagues try this in the future. All right, because I think it's genius.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see it. Definitely I've noticed too, the basketball does seem to be better for the in-season tournament games, right? Like nobody, if they can avoid it, nobody's taking those games off, right? Like those games are matter at least to the players. It's going to be curious to see again how the tournament finishes and how it plays out. But also, side note, Draymond Green got suspended for 5 games for the altercation. Yeah, and he was the fastest ejection ever in NBA history, something like that. So definitely, it's good to see that the competition level is being increased here at the beginning of the season. But I always love a car wreck. Like who doesn't? But yeah, I definitely think that the NBA is going to try to really put the kibosh on all the fighting here in these games.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It just reminds me of the 80s.
Well, that's the other thing too, is it
Yeah.
really made like back in the, like you said, back in the 80s or early 90s, right? Like makes me think of Charles Oakley and all that. It's like this would have been settled on the court, and there wouldn't have been suspensions or anything. Maybe some fouls going up, but people would have been separated. And it just kind of does also remind us of how, in some ways, basketball has gone soft. Right?
It has. And again, look, sometimes we say soft like it's bad. It comes down to your personal preference as a fan. Like the NHL is softer than it was in the 90s, but I could make a great argument that it's a better game now to watch.
Sure.
Right? The game is faster, it's more skilled. I don't know if I can say that.
The NFL is far softer than it was from when we were growing up and even before that. So
right. The question is, has it improved the game?
Right.
Everyone has to answer that individually.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what baseball is hoping is going to improve the game?
Yeah, that Las Vegas is going to soon become the mecca for all sports.
I don't know about that, but they are definitely hoping. They are definitely hoping that by moving the A's to Vegas, it is official. The A's will be in Vegas, I think, for 2025. I think they're going to play at UNLV's field, and then 2028 is now the target date for their new stadium. When I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, I talked to some folks about this. They are saying it's going to be built right now where the Tropicana is. They're going to tear down the Tropicana and put the stadium there right on the strip. It's about a half-mile away from Allegiant Stadium and T-Mobile. So you'll have this. It's going to be weird. You're going to have like this trifecta of stadiums, almost similar to how you have like all the stadiums in the same area in Philadelphia, but you're also going to have the Vegas Strip just cutting right down the middle.
Right.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that works.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant move. Vegas is a sports town. They've done everything right.
Yeah.
Baseball will fit in there perfect. It's going to be really hot, and so I'm sure that's going to be a closed stadium.
But it's going to. I think they said retractable roof, similar to Toronto.
Sure.
So
I think it's brilliant. I think Oakland can't hold a sports team. I'm not blaming the people in Oakland, but their local government can't figure it out. Which is a real shame.
And I think also the owner conspired for sure.
100% did. Right.
Yeah,
there's way more money in Vegas. So
even Mark Davis, who of course is the owner of the Raiders, even said he's like, I was willing to go 50-50 on a stadium.
Right.
But Fisher, the owner of the A's, was like, we're going no. And he kind of forced his hand, and it just happened to be that the Raiders were able to get out of there first.
Right.
So a lot of people are coming down on Fisher, but baseball unanimously approved the move by the owners.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's a good move for baseball.
At this point, yes, it is.
Now they're one team away from having all of the sports.
Yeah, it is the only move for baseball, and so the Athletics, and they said it will be called the Las Vegas Athletics. Yeah. So instead, obviously, where they have the uniforms that says Oakland on the front, the only thing that's going to change is it's going to say Las Vegas now.
Yeah.
Color scheme will stay the same.
As it should.
All that will stay the same.
Yeah. Well, they want to keep the Oakland fans happy. So, again, this is interesting. First city to lose all four major sports now. That says something to you. It's weird
because the Warriors moved to San Fran proper, and then the Raiders and the Athletics now moved to Vegas.
Yeah,
and
the Golden Seals.
And the Golden Seals once upon a time. So good
luck to the A's. I think it's a great move. I mean, look, Vegas is a great sports city, and I think
it is. It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I went there for the Raiders game a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, it's a show. It's a spectacle.
It's awesome. It is awesome. I've been to games there. They've done it completely right in only the way that Vegas can do. I would have liked to see more expansion teams. But at the same time, it's better for Vegas if you get an existing team.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I fully expect an NBA team to be playing out of the T-Mobile Arena soon.
Yeah. Although I was going to say, it's funny that the expansion team was the first one to win the championship.
I know. Well,
because the Raiders suck.
I'll tell you this too. Vegas is a hockey town. A lot of people don't know that, but they are diehard for their Golden Knights out there for lots of different reasons. There's too many to list right now, but Vegas is a hockey town.
Yeah.
And again, should the Raiders or the A's, when they're there, ever get really good, I'm sure that'll change. But very unique American situation here where the hockey team probably is going to be the number one team there for many, many years.
Yes. Well, because they're good. Again, they were the first one there to break that drought. Like, you don't realize, ESPN does have like a Vegas affiliate. Like there are they do cover sports there, particularly mostly just college until obviously all the pro sports teams.
Think about this. The Knights, not only first to win a championship within 6 years, you got to remember there's that horrible shooting there that right before they started.
Yeah.
Right, that they really embraced the city, those players, right? So they have a connection there, right? They've been competitive almost every season, I think, except one, which is really amazing when you think about it. And then, check this out, Ray. I mean, they're the first NHL team to have their own broadcast app. right?
Yeah.
Like which was thought to be unheard of before, but they made their own app for Vegas games where you can buy those games via the team. So they have gone above and beyond. They are totally doing it right. I think they're embarrassing a lot of other cities. And when you think about how they do sports in Vegas, why would you stay in Oakland? It's boring.
Yeah.
Right. It's so boring when you look there's nothing in Oakland outside the old Raiders dynasty and the A's dynasties, right? That was exciting.
Right? I mean, Vegas has it where they have their sports radio station inside one of the one of the sports radio stations inside one of the casinos.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The
new
legal, this is brilliant.
Yeah, the new Circa casino on Fremont Street, which is gorgeous, by the way. I went through there when I visited Vegas, and the largest sports bet in the sports book in the world is at the Circa Casino on Fremont Street. Lee, it was a dream come true. Lee, TVs everywhere.
I know.
Everywhere. And then to the side, they have a sports radio station broadcasting live.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant for sports fans.
Good job, Vegas.
Wants to sponsor the show. We're also really, really available. So let us know. We could do Geeks Who Like Sports from the Circa.
I will move to Vegas with my family if they want to do that.
I would. Well, I don't have a family, so I would go to Vegas too.
I said my family.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, you're listening. Oh, moving on.
Moving on. You know who's not moving? Aaron Nola.
Nope.
Nola locked up to a 7-year, $172 million deal as the Phillies feel they've got the pieces in place for a championship. They are doing everything they can to keep everybody they want right there. And Aaron Nola, who of course has been a Philly his whole career to this point, will probably finish his career as a Philly with this 7-year deal, $172 million. So good for him and good for the Fighting Phils for paying him what he probably. Yeah, I mean, this is what he's worth. This is what pitching goes for nowadays. So
yeah, what impresses me about the Phillies, Ray, and talking about the culture that's there and what athletes realize once they're here, because you're seeing a lot of athletes want to play for the Phillies now. Yep. A lot of these athletes taking less money to stay in Philadelphia, something I never thought I'd say. Right? Yeah. Really. I mean, that was not the truth 20 years ago. You left Philly for less money, right? Yeah. Back then. But the culture of that locker room, the culture of that team, obviously, they're right there to win a World Series. Like they're obviously a contender.
The window is open.
Yeah. And not to mention, when I see players on my baseball team take less money, to me, that means there's conversations going on. If we think we can get this guy, if you're good with your salary. So I'm interested to see who else we're going to pull in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the free agency period has just begun. Yankees picked up a reliever for this who played with Pittsburgh. I don't even know his name. Honestly, that's all I saw. Yeah, a lot of free agents. Yankees made a small trade. They sent Jake Bowers for 2 minor league outfielders to the Brewers. By the way, did you see the Braves trade?
No.
The Braves are trading everybody. They traded 6 or 5 players for Aaron Bummer, a left-handed reliever from the White Sox. They traded Kyle Wright, who is only, I know he's hurt. He's going to miss a year. And they traded him to the Royals for basically a development project for pitcher.
This is what the Braves do so well, though. They know how to cycle players to keep the team extremely competitive. Mm-hmm. I think, if you think about this too, Ray, if you're Atlanta right now, it's very easy to look at Atlanta and say, oh, they're right there. They're right there. No, you're not. Right. It's like, again, people can think I'm crazy, unbelievable record, but it's like, look, the Phillies are coming. Right. And it's so if you're going to,
the Braves got beat by the Phillies again in the playoffs.
Yeah. If you're going to shake it up right now to make a team that can beat the Phillies, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Because the Phillies have that team's number.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that's how they think. All right. It's like, well, we're not built for the playoffs. We're a regular season team. So you got to look at the players they're bringing in. Are these playoff fighters that are going to get them where they want to be? Because no one cares if you win the regular season. Nobody cares. All right. I'm not taking a shot at the Braves. They're a great baseball team.
Yeah.
But they suck in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And now is the time to make changes if you want to win.
It's true. It was very much, it was a really interesting move, though. They dumped a lot of players and also a lot of salary to make these moves.
They're going after someone. I'm going to say it again. And I gloat when I say this, but think about this from an organizational standpoint. The Braves have never beaten the Phillies in the playoffs, ever. That's an amazing stat. All right. So it's like the Phillies are going to be in the playoffs again, most likely. Yeah. They're only getting stronger. So yeah, I think sometimes teams react to other teams in the division. Yeah, if you disagree with me, call me out on it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Let's see. We're speaking about money. You know who made zero money for charity this week?
Yeah, this is brutal.
This was like a Saturday Night Live sketch come to life, ladies and gentlemen. It was Celebrity Jeopardy, and WWE's Becky Lynch, aka the Man, multi-time women's champion, multi-time women's tag team champion. Now, to be fair, there's 60 clues on any given, and by the way, she did actually get the final Jeopardy question right.
That was funny.
Which is funny, yeah. But she buzzed in 5 times. She was 0 for 5 and is the first person in the history of Jeopardy, any form of Jeopardy, college, the kids, celebrity, normal Jeopardy. She didn't get a single question right.
Yeah.
0 for 60. She buzzed in for 5 and got all 5 wrong. And, maybe she was trying to buzz in, and the other people, it was Rachel Dratch, former Saturday Night Live alum, and Macaulay Culkin, who won. I think Rachel Dratch won overall. But both of them had over $30,000 going into Final Jeopardy, and the Man had a negative number, and I think they gave her a charity $1,000. So
this is all I'm going to say, Ray. And I'm not putting this all on Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But I do want to take a step back and say, what does it mean about society when someone goes on Jeopardy and gets no questions correct? The whole purpose of Jeopardy is to get these answers. Excuse me.
Well, and especially for Celebrity Jeopardy, they're a little softer.
Softball questions, all right?
Yeah, they're a little soft.
Yeah. This team out of Las Vegas is golden.
Yeah.
Especially in the evening, which is part of their name.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not jumping on Becky Lynch. I'm not trying to, at least, but yeah, I mean, it tells you something about society. I mean, look, we used to sit around the table, watch Jeopardy, and it was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you got one right, it was a big deal. Now people don't even watch it too much anymore. So I don't know. Yeah. Alex Trebek literally turning over in his grave.
Seriously.
Or most likely going, thank God that wasn't me.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I believe Ken Jennings was the host that night, and not a good look.
Yeah. That might even be worse. The guy who did do all of the answers or all the questions.
Yeah. Who has all the Jeopardy records, right. And you got nothing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Well, a couple other folks got nothing this weekend. This was the big F1 race, going back to Vegas, actually. Vegas continued to do what's best, trying to do what's best for the global look and their local economy and everything. And although a lot of folks around Vegas were not happy about the race, I will say this: the FIA, the International Racing Organization, one that runs F1, they didn't do a great job of checking out this track beforehand. We talked about it last week. We talked about a lot of concerns about the track and well, I guess somebody forgot to cover up one of the storm drains, and one of the Ferrari cars went over it 8 minutes into the very first practice and totaled the car. Everybody was asked to leave. No refunds were given, but they were promised they would get a voucher for the F1 store. And yeah,
brutal.
The race itself ended up being fine, but boy, did it just struggle right out of the gates to get going in Vegas, and it really is a bad look for the FIA as a whole, because it really just did look like a cash grab. And also, by the way, for the folks who could only afford the practice tickets, to get there for like 8 minutes and then not get refunded your money, it's pretty despicable.
It's wrong. It's just period wrong, right? The F1 will never come back to Vegas again after this for multiple reasons. They've really what's the right word? They have really done a bad job of making Vegas feel welcome, like the Vegas citizens here, and they've only tapped into the tourist side of this situation.
Yeah,
and it's abysmal, right? They've really done a disservice to the Vegas residents, and people there by blocking off the Bellagio and all the. I heard one person say there's never been a worse time to visit Vegas than right now.
I heard a lot of people say that, actually. Yeah,
that is not the press you want from a tourist standpoint. And I'm sure some people, bigwigs, are justifying it's just a couple weeks, just a couple months. So it'll be here and gone. Nobody will remember. No, people can remember this one. F1 will never be back in Vegas, nor should it be. Just cycling back to the earlier part of the episode, not all sports belong in Vegas, and not all storm drains are created equal. And whoever's job that is probably got fired.
Yeah, definitely somebody on the safety crew and whatnot. It's a big deal because it's also like these cars are millions of dollars.
Insanely expensive cars.
Yeah, and to get totaled on a storm drain like that, to not even be able to compete. This was the practice. Talking about practice.
Not the race that they die for.
Yeah, practice. Anyway, you know what was speaking of big events this weekend?
You were at one, right?
I was at one. I got to go to AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view here in Los Angeles at the not so fabulous Kia Forum. Look, it's a very, very old building, folks, and boy, oh boy, this is like all these years in LA, I've never been to the Forum. And for those who don't know, the Forum, of course, where the Lakers used to play before they moved to Staples, aka Crypto.com Arena, about 30 years ago or 25 years ago. The Forum has not aged well, but I will say it is a great place for a wrestling show because there isn't a bad seat at the house. It's a very steep, kind of old school stadium, and so everybody can kind of see the action. I was able to watch. I watched the whole thing. I actually wear my Eddie Kingston shirt, one Mad King repping another. So Eddie Kingston defended his ROH World Championship in the opening bout. And then, of course, we had MJF defend the AEW World Championship. But something everybody's talking about, Lee, is actually the Texas Death Match. I'm not sure if you saw any of the highlights from this or all the.
I didn't. I just heard a rattlesnake sound in my head, though.
Yes, the Texas. That's the Texas rattle. That's Stone Cold. But this Death Match.
No, I can hear a rattlesnake whether Austin's there or not.
Yes, but you know what? Austin's one of the best things that Austin's known for is the Crimson Mask he wore against Bret Hart, right? Well, both wrestlers ended up with a Crimson Mask here. I mean, we were talking barbed wire chairs covered in barbed wire. We're talking about staple gun. We're talking about cinder blocks. We're talking about broken glass. We're talking about one wrestler literally not that broken glass, but just kind of one wrestler in Hangman Adam Page literally drinking the blood of his opponent like he was Gangrel or something, where he had busted open Swerve Strickland so much the blood was dripping down his face so much that he could actually he could drink it as it dripped off his face. It is one of the most gruesome matches.
Family fun.
AEW, to their credit, tries to appeal to a wide variety of wrestling fans. And many times their shows have a wide variety of matches, from tag to 6-man to ladder to Texas Death, all of these kinds of matches. But to your point, I know a lot of folks who got up with their kids and walked out of the arena, which was great because then I could sneak down to the bottom bowl. But those folks,
I wouldn't want my kids to see that, to be fair.
Yeah, no, and this is why AEW is definitely feels more like a TVMA wrestling compared to the TVPG for WWE. And although more people are talking about it than ever before because of this, I do think that it's not going to help their growth like in the way they hope.
No, it won't. It was a bad decision to allow someone to do that. Listen, Ray, at some point, listen. This escalates more and more because when you go down this road, you got to do more and more.
Yes.
And it's going to end with someone dying.
Yeah.
If they're not careful. All right. And the WWE has learned that lesson plenty of times. All right. So while it might have been fun and exciting, I don't think wrestling is only for adults.
Yeah.
And I think if you make matches like that, you're going to lose people. All right. And I guarantee you, one of those people leaving the stadium was like, well, I can't ever let my little kid watch this again.
Well, and I think that's the thing is like, even me as a wrestling fan, I was cringing.
Yeah.
I was cringing at this. This is like, there's being busted open and then there's drinking another man's blood busted open.
Which is not okay. Yeah. It's disgusting, actually.
Yeah. It was pretty repulsive.
And again, you got to keep pushing the limit when you do stupid stuff like that. All right. And I'm going to say this again. The WWE did that for years with steroids. They did it with some of their storylines. They did it with some of their stunts. And people either get horribly injured, people get horribly offended, or, as is true, people die.
Yeah.
All right. So that's up to the AEW to decide if they want to keep going down that road. I think it's a bit much.
I think this was a bit much as well. I think they definitely went farther than they needed to. I get it. Texas death match, right? You're expecting, it's in the name, you're expecting something insane, but I definitely don't know if today's audience, it's like you said, it's not the 80s anymore. It's not the Attitude Era. It's AEW doesn't need to do this stuff to differentiate itself from WWE. It already does that with its wrestlers, with its storylines. I think that they might have gone a bit too far with a lot of this stuff with this particular match.
Well, I'm glad you got to see it in person, Ray.
Yes, I got to see it in person. I made sure that I got to, all me and my friends, we all got tetanus shots afterwards, just in case, because of all the blood everywhere. It was like the front row was like the splash zone at SeaWorld.
Yeah, let's keep that for Mortal Kombat, right? Like the digital world.
I mean, there's one point where Swerve got a water bottle and he poured it over his face, and it was just all red. It was just,
I'm cringing now. Too much.
Yeah. It was a lot. I mean, Twitter has pulled down the clips on it. X.
Yeah.
Yes. which is supposed to be all about, we'll let you do whatever you want. Oh, no. Highlights from this AEW Full Gear match. No, this is too much. You got to pull this. We can't have this. That's how bad it was. You know what's not bad?
Star Wars.
Correct. Our geek section. And
wait. Fancy transition.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
It was whatever it was.
There it was. Fantastic. Great job,
Thank
guys.
you to our crew for putting in that fancy transition.
Yes, much appreciated. Dave Filoni, and it's no surprise, continues to climb the ladder at Lucasfilm and LucasArts, and he has officially been named the chief creative officer there, as Disney realizes that they need to move away from Kathleen Kennedy and start putting people in charge who actually know what they're doing. Dave Filoni, of course, right off the heels of the success of Ahsoka, which I still haven't finished.
You need to finish that.
I know. It's hard. It's a hard
time. You need to finish
right now.
that.
There's a lot of video games out right now. Damn it.
You know how I feel about this, Ray?
What? How?
Thank you, Force. Thank you, Force. God bless the Force. Bless the Force for allowing this man to finally sit in his rightful position, Ray. Yeah. Chief Creative Officer is exactly where Filoni belongs. Yep. Proven it many, many years, over a decade.
Yeah.
Deserves it. Thank goodness for Star Wars for doing this.
Yes. And to Caitlin's point, I couldn't hear what you just played on your phone.
I'll sing it. Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Perfect. I was gonna say maybe we have to add it in and post more special effects. But
wait. Hallelujah. There you go,
awesome.
everybody.
We've now been hit with copyright infringement. And
I got it. It's not copyright to say hallelujah, especially when I do it. Look, it's a great move. This guy has never steered us wrong with Star Wars. He has a deep understanding of the Force, of Star Wars, of the characters, of George Lucas's vision for Star Wars. He has made the best Star Wars content over the last 10 years of anybody. And wherever they're going with him in charge, I feel very confident right now in the Star Wars universe. He has made decisions, Ray, and because you haven't seen it, I can't spoil it for you, but he has made decisions in Ahsoka that will drastically give them the ability to incredibly improve the Star Wars universe. And I am talking about expanding the Force in ways that makes so much sense that as a Star Wars fan, you go, yes, that will allow you to right wrongs, that will allow characters to interact with each other. You must watch Ahsoka now, Ray. I'm mandating it that you watch Ahsoka. And Dave Filoni, well done. We've been calling for this for years. Let Filoni take over. They're doing it. And listen, I got good on Kathleen Kennedy for allowing it to happen. All right, kind of righting some of the mistakes in the past. She's still the president of Lucasfilm. All right, and she made that decision, and it's about time. They made the wrong decisions before with
Yeah.
putting J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson, all these guys in charge of the films. So you did
Yeah.
it right now.
Yeah. So hopefully
Hallelujah.
it will usher in the golden age, a new golden age for Star Wars.
Yes.
But a lot of hirings and firings this week, a lot of rumors out there in the world. First off, I want to mention this was interesting. This broke yesterday, I believe. Sam Altman, for those who don't know, who is the guy who basically helped create ChatGPT and all the AI stuff that we are basically, a lot of folks are constantly talking about with all the controversies around here. His board decided to let him go yesterday from his company. The board did not give a reason why, to the fact that the point where about 600 of the 700 employees at the company actually signed a petition asking for reasons or threatening to walk out. And during all this chaos, within hours of being let go,
yeah, brilliant.
Sam Altman was hired by Microsoft and is now in charge of of AI, the future of AI with Microsoft, a worldwide company with way more resources than his not-for-profit probably could ever have dreamed of. Lee, I am both excited and scared now for the future of AI. Because literally, Sam Altman now is going to have, he is like the patron saint of artificial intelligence, or as we know it right now. And he's got now more resources at his fingertips than he's ever had before with Microsoft.
It is a brilliant move by Microsoft. What I think about with all of this, Ray, is have you all learned nothing from Steve Jobs and that entire situation at Apple? They have literally made films about this, right? So I don't know what happened in that boardroom. I don't know what happened, what power struggle went on. I can tell you that they're probably looking at AI as a multi-billion, potentially multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people clamoring to be in charge of that. And I have a feeling that Altman probably had a vision for where he wanted this to go, and they didn't agree with him as a board. I think this is absolutely what happened at Apple in the 80s or the 90s.
Yep.
Now Microsoft coming in is just such a brilliant power move. I mean, there's so many different directions we could go with this. Aside from Microsoft's computing AI potential, I think about the gaming potential.
Yes.
What if they get AI to a point it can create games?
Well,
or NPC could be a completely another level of gameplay.
Yeah,
you might not
of
need to play
realism.
against actual real people anymore.
Well, and that's what people are both worried about and also excited about, is that that's the first thing that people's minds was, how will this affect gaming? There's already been talks about Microsoft about trying to use AI to help make games and to help enhance games. And now you have again, the patron saint of artificial intelligence working on this now, potentially to the point where, it both could be great for gaming and also possibly bad for a lot of hardworking people in the gaming industry. I'm very curious to see where this goes and what safeguards, obviously, they're going to be put in place for this.
Right.
But this could have production time. Right now, it takes between 2 and 4 years to make a AAA game. Like, what if you had a high quality Halo annually, like
weekly?
it's
there's a lot of potential here. The real thing to worry about is just if AI can become sentient, and like nobody knows when that will happen at some point, and nobody knows what it's going to do. Obviously, every movie has taught us that it's going to be Judgment Day.
It's going to be bad. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of robots.
I don't think that's
going
to happen. Yeah, I actually don't think that's what the likely future is. I think a sentient a thing would have some form of empathy or something. But we'll find out. Either way, we win or lose. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. But wow, ChatGPT, what a mistake that was. And I don't know who you have taken over, but I guarantee this was a money grab and something happened. Somebody wanted control of that technology.
Yeah, I think it has to probably do more with control and whatnot. And yeah, OpenAI is obviously, he was the chief executive of OpenAI, which and now, he is now his title is lead of the advanced AI research team at Microsoft. But yeah, also, producer Caitlin mentions it could also help with game costs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't have to pay people. Game costs come down. Look, the whole purpose of AI is to make our lives easier. Again, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of things that can happen with that. But I don't think it's going to be a dystopian future where we're all running for our lives. I also don't think it's going to be a future where we don't ever have to do anything because AI takes care of everything. I think there's
we're
future
not going to get a Wall-E situation.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be somewhere in the middle, and what, like, we'll learn to use this technology together. But yeah, like if it can make life easier, I don't know, man. Like technology has always made life better in some ways, and it's also scared people in other ways. This is nothing new. It's just the next evolution of it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where things go. Interesting times we live in. Interesting times.
Always.
Other hirings and firings. This is a fun thing. Pedro Pascal. All signs point to him as being Reed Richards in the MCU.
This is the way.
This is interesting, as it means it's probably going to be an older style, Reed Richards, which means he's more established. Well,
as we said, after the Marvels, it could be any Reed Richards from any universe at any age at any time, and
yeah,
I think that's where they're going to go.
Yeah. But yeah, and also John Hamm has said again, I think he said it before and he said it again, I'd really love to play Dr. Doom. Just putting it out there, Marvel. Just put it out there, Disney. I think that'd be interesting. So we'll see what happens. So Pedro versus John Hamm, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
A lot of articles out right now about, they're going to get rid of Kang and bring in Dr. Doom. And I was like, God, I just, so many people have no idea what they're talking about that I just ignore all of these articles now.
Dr. Doom was always the plan at some point anyway.
Yeah, they're just talking about accelerating it, but
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, look, the worst thing I think the MCU could do right now is panic.
Yeah.
I think the media is panicking and people want panic because it's a fun thing to do. Superhero fatigue and the Marvels didn't do well. Let it cook. Relax.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when that goes on a video or streaming, it's going to do very well. All right. I think the other thing that we're not talking about, Ray, and this is the other thing that freaks me out, is that 2 years ago, we couldn't leave our houses. We've trained people to watch streaming. When I look at the Marvels, Ray, for not you and me, that's one you look at and you go, I'll stream that when it comes on Disney Plus. I don't need to spend $30 to go see that one. Right. So it's just calm down, everybody. All right. Yeah. Pedro Pascal, very, very loved at Disney. He'll do a great job.
Yes, absolutely. Also, sticking with Marvel and Disney, Steven Yen, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from The Walking Dead, and from
The Walking Glenn.
The Walking Glenn.
You said it right. It was just funny the way you said that. He does walk a lot when he was in the series. Spoiler alert, he gets his head bashed in by Negan. His eye explodes out of his head. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
not AEW. It was fake.
Yes. He also plays Invincible, of course, in Invincible.
Yep.
So he does a great job to watch. Yes. I watched season 1. I need to watch season 2 now.
It was awesome. We never got a chance to talk about it. It was awesome.
Yes, I did watch season 1 of Invincible. It was fantastic. They did an amazing job with it. So now I'm waiting for all of season 2 out yet?
Season 2 is out, and there's a mini season out as well.
All right.
And you need to watch The Boys at some point. Great stuff.
I know. I've got so many video games to play. It is rumored that he is going to be playing the Sentry in the Thunderbolts film. This is an interesting one because, of course, the Sentry basically kind of is Invincible. Basically, if you're familiar with Invincible but not familiar with the Sentry, that's the best way to describe it. But he's also kind of crazy. He's got a split personality disorder where his biggest bad guy is actually his dark side called the Void. But when he's on his meds, he is arguably the most powerful being in the MCU, or at least on Earth. And he's kind of like, he's like invincible. He's Superman. He's powered by the sun. But he's kind of crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's a good guy, a bad guy, kind of a little of both here.
I love complex characters. Thunderbolts could be one of the best things Marvel's ever done.
Yeah.
Villains are always more interesting than heroes. Always. Yeah. So I'm hoping they do that right. And I'm hoping that, it's their Suicide Squad, for lack of a better, metaphor.
Yeah. Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
So it's what I like about it though, Ray, is that the Suicide Squad has some really known characters. Like Harley Quinn's a known character, you can't mess it, Thunderbolt's not so much, right? Like an average viewer is not going to know Sentry. They're not going to know some of these characters that they're putting into that team. So I'm excited to see
that's part of the good thing is that's why they've built them up, this Thunderbolts,
right,
through their movies, right? So we have
that.
We have Helena, who of course was Black Widow's sister. She's gonna be in the Thunderbolts as one of the Black Widows. We have Ghost from Ant-Man 2 is gonna be in this. We have Red Guardian, also from Black Widow, is going to be on this team. So yes, yeah, David Harbour, is coming back to reprise his role. So this is shaping up to be something. We have probably U.S. Agent.
100% is going to be there.
Yeah,
it's
right. So from obviously Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
So now we have two, as predicted. We have two. Well, I should say 3 micro teams now created. The Avengers still obviously exist. We know who's going to be in that.
Yes.
The Young Avengers have now been introduced. We know the Thunderbolts are introduced. These teams are all going to fight a Kang. That's what we've decided. And then I think there's going to be a multiverse team for not Secret Wars, for the other one they've What if potentially too. My point is you're starting to see the teams form. The Midnight Suns are coming too, hopefully.
Yeah,
right?
We know the X-Men are coming. We know the Fantastic Four are coming.
So this phase, I think this phase is going to finalize introducing the teams. The next phase is going to be the teams. It was Secret Wars. I was trying to. That is what it's Secret Wars.
It is Secret Wars.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of that stupid show that we just had that I'm trying to erase from my memory.
Oh, Secret Invasion.
Thank you. So, and I think what's going to happen in Secret Wars, you're going to have that multiverse team.
Yeah.
Right. So you're seeing it finally come to fruition. Marvel's best course of action is to just stick to your plan. Like you've known what you were doing for years. Just stick to the plan, get through it. All right.
Yep.
And get there. Because I'll tell you what, when these super teams start coming together, it's going to be fun again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It took too long to get there.
And also, I mean, one of the main characters of Secret Wars, of course, is Spider-Man.
Right.
And they've already talked about maybe it being Toby in that movie.
They should absolutely do that. All right. Now, again, that's assuming Toby or Andrew Garfield can maintain that character at their age. It's not easy to jump around when you're over 40.
Absolutely. But I think also, and something that I watched, and Lee, you're better off not having watched it, is the Madam Web trailer, because boy, does that look like a steaming high.
I don't want to watch Spider-Man properties without Spider-Man anymore. Venom is the only exception to that, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Tom Hardy's awesome.
They basically establish a young Madam Web. There's also rumors that like one of the characters is actually young Ben Parker, and then they're going to do the Trouble storyline, which, if you're not familiar with, from 2003, was a storyline where, so Spider-Man's father had an affair with Aunt May, and so Aunt May is actually Peter's mom because Uncle Ben couldn't have a baby, but then also Peter's mom, or Peter's mom was really young, and it's super confusing and it's super terrible.
I'm already confused.
It's awful, and basically it was like wife swap with Richard Parker and Uncle Ben, right? Like
wife swap.
It just awful, and honestly, it was the beginning of the end for my love of Spider-Man and comics anyway, because obviously just a couple years later, they had one more day. They just didn't know what to do with it. And that was a terrible storyline. There's hints of that, it seems, in Madam Web. You've got 3 Spider-Women already in Madam Web beside Madam Web.
Yeah, it seems forced. And again, I think it also falsely assumes people know who Madam Web is.
Yeah.
And again, is this
what we do, and it's not this version of her. Like,
well, it's like where does this connect to anything larger?
Well, and that is the hope, is that they're going to try and get people to see this, because they are promising that this film will then lead into the introduction again of the Sony Spider-Man, and that the next Tom Holland Spider-Man will merge the Sony Spider-Verse with the MCU Spider-Verse somehow again, maybe.
I will tell you why this is the dumbest thing ever. All right. You have Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That was your way to merge right there.
Yep.
That was it's unbelievably good. It's probably the best Spider-Man films ever made, to be fair. I don't think I'm going astray.
You could have just could have used Miles.
You could have put Madam Web in that if you really wanted to. You had
Miles
Morales.
A whole other beloved Spider-Man.
Yeah. And it's, by the way, called the Spider-Verse. So that's what I would have done. And this is what I'm going to do. And this is where we talk about starting to make decisions. I am not going to watch Madame Web. All right. The only way I will watch it.
I didn't watch Mobius either.
I didn't watch that either, because it barely connects.
And I'm not going to watch the Craven film either. That looks like a piece of trash too.
When this is what I'm going to do. 5 years ago, Ray, we had to see everything, because it might connect. Now it's, it connected. Okay. I'll go back and watch that if I feel like it. All right. Because here's the thing too. The problem with the connections now is in phase 1, phase 2, even phase 3, if you miss the film, you're missing something.
Yeah.
You're missing a major piece of the puzzle. I actually know someone I'm very close with, Ray, that saw Avengers Endgame and hadn't seen any of the other films. It was the most hilarious reaction ever. They're like, I have no idea what's happening with any of these people. And to them, it was just a stupid action film. And I'm like, I've invested lots of money over 10 years for this situation to happen. Not to mention my entire childhood. But I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I can miss a show or a movie and you could be like, oh yeah, this happens. And that's all that movie accomplished. And I'll be like, all right. And I'll just go on to YouTube and watch that scene.
Yeah.
So that's where Marvel has to be careful. But I didn't think they needed to do this. I think you had Miles Morales. I think the Spider-Verse was the way to do it. They already started doing it. You left the last film off in a place you could easily do it.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it or Across the Spider-Verse, the way that film ends, it's like you could do this.
Yeah.
They kind of did. Again, they kind of did. So anyway.
It just kind of shows that there's a lot of folks at Sony who don't know what the heck they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing.
And it's a shame there's so many people being fired all around Hollywood, and yet there's so many folks. I never hear of anything about Sony. There should be a lot of people fired over at Sony.
I just don't know what they're doing. Like I'm gonna say it again. Outside of Venom, and I'm only saying that because Tom Hardy is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And he has really earned himself that spot in that role. And they're clearly going to connect that character.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Spider-Man films without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it anymore. I love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I didn't need an expansion of his universe. I want Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need a Madam Web movie.
You know what? You know what they should have made? Spider-Gwen. They should have made that its own thing.
Yeah, that would have worked for her.
You know why? Because it's got Spider-Person in it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And then they're like, well, now we have 3 Spider-Women in this movie. None of them are established. None of them are established.
They're not giving us a reason to want to watch it. You have an established Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I get lost in this sometimes.
Sony sucks. They really, really suck.
Water boy.
Yeah. But
people say Ray's only mad because if he doesn't do it up, I'm gotta.
One other quick Marvel note before moving on. What If got a release date of 12/22, doing a very interesting thing, episodic. Daily episodes.
Episodic, brilliant move, especially that time of year.
Yeah, I think it's really great for that time of year. I think they're going to be tying in a lot to the holiday season. I think that it's unlike Echo, which is all being dropped at once in the beginning of January. I think that there's going to be a purpose to this. I think this is going to I think they're burying Echo. I think this has a purpose. One of them's
a dump.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Right, and the other one's a trickle. Look. Here's the deal. I think the last time they put out What If, it was brilliant because we didn't know it was going to connect until really the last episode or two. And that was actually a really cool. Oh wow, these all connect. Right? Because when we were watching it, Ray, I'm like, oh, that's a cool story. That's a cool story. Then they all connected. So now we know they connect. Yeah. And you know the watcher. So I don't think we need to wait. This is like a gift. Right. Yeah. I think also Disney's realized what is the power of waiting? You're a streaming service.
Right.
Like you're a streaming service. There's no ads. What is the power of waiting? I got to wait every week for Quantum Leap to not give me Sam Beckett every single week. Right? Every week I wait. He never shows up. And they tease him, Ray. They tease him every week. They say his name or they'll bring back an old character, but he never shows up. And guess what? I watch every week through those stupid ads every week because I live the hope that one day Sam Beckett will return home and I'll be a mess on my couch for about 5 minutes because my childhood will then be complete. But no, Marvel has figured it out. We'll do it every day. I'm sure it's going to be great. The trailer looked great. I'm excited about it.
And Caitlin is laughing at Lee's pain in chat.
Is she? Producer Caitlin's laughing at my pain.
Yes.
That's because she's sitting through it with me.
Oh, that's fair.
If you're watching me, and not only can I predict the show, but I know every Easter egg in the show.
Right.
To be fair, they're doing a pretty good job with that show. Right. Like they put some good twists on it. It's fun to watch. I don't think it's going to get a 3rd season. So this season better end with Sam Beckett coming home. Scott Bakula, I am speaking to you. Get back on the air.
From what I understand, I saw a panel, but it's really all on him.
That's one thing I don't want ruined for me. Just please, I've since the 3rd grade, I have needed Scott Bakula to come home, and it's time for him to come home. And let other children today let Sam Beckett come home, and let the children today lose Ben Song, the current main character, for 30 years, and they can deal with that. But I need this chapter closed. Ben Song can be gone for. I like Ben Song. I like the actor. Like he can disappear. I'm an adult now. But childhood Lee in the 3rd grade, who's 8 years old, needs Sam Beckett to come home. was one of the worst days of school I ever had, waking up to watch that VHS to find out that Sam Beckett never left home. And I've been living on that for 30 plus years, right? Whoop. Actually, it's been over 30 years.
Yeah, it sounds a lot of people have. A lot of people have.
I'm very blessed. This is some of my childhood trauma. That's not bad trauma to have. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway.
What if it should be great?
Yes.
Looking forward to that. We'll have a full spoiler review of that. I want to get to this next one, Ray, because you and I have done it again. You and I, the power of this podcast has changed Warner Brothers' mind.
Yep. So final story of the day. An update on the Coyote versus Acme film. Warner Brothers has walked it back and said now they will allow the producers to go and sell the film elsewhere. Already Netflix, Apple, I think we mentioned this last week, at Netflix and Apple are already lining up possibly for it, as well as other streaming services. And now the government, this is fun. The government has stepped in and wants to investigate Warner Brothers and their practices because it's they are worried that
anti-competitive behavior.
Yes.
Capitalism. Actually working for a change.
Yes, this is good capitalism.
This is the good side.
That basically Warner Brothers killing films for tax breaks is anti-competitive, and that this film brought it to their attention. Obviously, they have the evidence with the Batgirl film, so that might finally get released now, or at least finished and then released because it was in the editing stages when that happened.
Get this right: the government wants their money, so release the film or sell the film. But no, seriously, on a serious note, like when it comes to anti-competitive behavior in law. Is actually very important because it sets a dangerous precedent outside of film if the government doesn't step in. When companies compete, right, things get better. The more they compete, the better the products, the more the innovation. It's not always fair. It's not always right. That's why you have the court system. They're saying that they are not competing and just taking a tax break, which is going to hurt the industry. And they are absolutely correct. It's kind of the opposite of a monopoly, actually, right? Monopolies cannot exist because there's no competition. You cannot own a space like that. This is the opposite, saying you can't not compete. So, I'm a big fan of this.
Yes.
All right. This is actually part of our structure that I completely agree with. I think when companies compete, the consumer wins. All right.
No, absolutely. This is the government telling Warner Brothers you can't tank anymore.
Yeah.
You're not getting a draft pick if you keep tanking.
Yeah. That's a really good way of looking at it. Not to mention when something that good is made and you hold it back, that is anti-American. All right. I will remind everybody, Ben Franklin, who's like a hero to me. I didn't know him personally because it wasn't live.
You're not that old.
Not that old. He gave his inventions away. He discussed his inventions. He encouraged people to improve on his inventions. So even back to the start of the country, that type of behavior is how we got there. There was a lot of problems back then too. Okay. Well, I'm not getting into, but my point to you is anti-competitive behavior is being squashed here. And I think it's great. All right. Because what Warner Brothers is doing is wrong. All right. You can't just take tax breaks when people have worked. It's also anti-labor law. I mean, people don't get paid if those movies don't come out.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly. It's hurting jobs. It's hurting so much.
And we should also say too, we're not there. And this is the other good side of it. They're not saying to Warner Brothers, you have to release it.
Yeah.
All right. But they're saying you do need to sell it. You do need to profit somehow from the work that's been done. All right. Yeah. Again, equate this back because I don't think people are fully seeing it. Like it'd be like if you were running a sweatshop and not paying your employees. All right. I mean, it's somewhat equatable to this of saying, oh no, we're just going to fire everybody because we'll save money. Well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. There's laws against that.
Yeah.
So anyway, good job, U.S. government.
When's the last time we said that? I was going to say, for once, holy cow.
It was 2023, the year
even a broken clock is right twice a day. And in this case, I guess it's
twice a century.
Twice, maybe,
Decade. They've done it a couple times.
Decade, a couple, yeah.
Decades. They do. Look, the government does do a lot actually right. We just don't hear about it. They also do a tremendous amount wrong.
That is true.
Tremendous amount wrong.
Oh, but yes. That is a whole different
progress
podcast.
Is always possible.
We promised the people for Thanksgiving we would not talk politics.
Did we?
Government. Well, I mean, no, we didn't.
You should listen to the mashup this Saturday, which is going to come out, which is going to be a great mashup. I'm going to tease it right now. Jeopardy. We talked about Jeopardy earlier. You should probably know the questions to the answers there. I said it right that time. We're going to ask the top 3 characters to go on Jeopardy, both to win Jeopardy and to horribly, horribly lose Jeopardy. That's coming this Saturday on the Geeks Who Like Sports mashup. I'm Lee Elias. That's Ray Carcillo. I'm going to toss it back to him to close because it's not my job. It's his job. But I did a great job of doing that job. Ray,
you did do a great job. You can definitely do the close, Lee, one of these days.
I do it on other shows. You can have this one. All the pressures. I'm gonna sauce the puck back to you.
All right, I got it right to the tape, buddy. Thanks so much. All right, for Lee, I am Ray. This is indeed the end of the show. We really appreciate everybody watching or listening. We hope that you have a great Thanksgiving or had a great Thanksgiving if you're watching after the fact. And we hope to see you all next week for more Geeks Who Like Sports. We'll see you on Small Business Saturday with a special mashup for Jeopardy. All right, bye, everybody.